Hello, I'm Erin, a 29-year-old woman. Today, I want to tell you about the most crazy thing that has ever happened to me. I hope to never go through something like this again, but it does make for a good story. Get ready for the twist of your life. First, I need to introduce you to my husband, Sean. Sean and I have been together since our last year of college. We've had a great relationship. We've barely ever fought, and we are each other's source of comfort. After we graduated, we started working immediately. We lived with our parents for a little while and saved up, and when we finally had enough money, we finally moved in together. After we moved in together, Sean and I decided that it was time to formally introduce each other to our parents. My parents welcomed him with open arms, and his parents welcomed me in the same way. After that first interaction, I thought that I had surely made a good impression on his parents. But I was proved wrong a few months later. You see, we would invite our parents to dinner every other week. We figured it was a good way to spend quality time with our families without having to worry about meeting them separately. At these dinners, Sean's mother, Rita, would always make snide remarks against me. She would say something snarky about my clothes, my makeup, my food, or me being a good wife in general. But she would say it when only I could hear her. So I had to be standing near her, and she would say it softly enough for only me to hear. The first time I heard her say something rude, I thought I misheard it. But then I started hearing it a lot more often, and I knew she was trying to be mean to me specifically. It sent a lot of mixed signals because when everyone was around, she'd be really nice to me. She would give me a lot of backhanded compliments, but other than that, she was sweet. I didn't know if she even liked me, so I asked Sean about it one day. I need to ask you about something. Yeah, what is it? Do you think that your mom doesn't like me? What? Why would you think that she doesn't like you? Well, she constantly ignores me, not to mention she's always making snide remarks about me whenever you aren't paying attention. Oh, come on, that's nonsense. When did she make a snide remark? Last time she came over, she asked me if I just made a frozen dinner for her because everything tasted bland, and that was right after you told her that I spent the entire day cooking for her. What? Where was I at that time? You went back to the kitchen to grab some utensils. Oh, well, I'm sorry my mom said that, but I don't think she doesn't like you. Why do you think that it doesn't mean that she doesn't like me? I mean, that's not any way you treat someone you actually like. My mom can be very critical. If anything, I think it just means that she liked you. She isn't that way with anyone unless she's close to them or wants to get close to them. Well, that's a kind of messed up way to go about getting there. I know, but that's just how my mom is. I promise she likes you. Okay, I'll take it even though I don't necessarily believe it. I let go of all my doubts even though I couldn't shake the feeling that Sean had no idea about what was actually going on and Rita did hate me. I was bored with it and eventually learned to ignore Rita's comments. After about another year, Sean proposed to me. I was beyond happy, and both of us celebrated in a big way. The day after I said yes, we decided to tell our parents about it. My parents were very happy for us. When we got to Sean's parents' place, Isaac wasn't home, but Rita was. So we told her. Mom, we're engaged. Oh? I thought you'd be a little excited for me at least. I would, but are you sure, honey? What do you mean? I just mean that you can do so much better than her. Are you sure you want to marry her? Of course I am. She's the love of my life. Look, I understand that love makes people blind, but this? Don't you think this is a bit much? How can you even say that, Mom? Don't you care about my happiness? Oh, honey, of course I care about your happiness. Well, Erin makes me happy. Just because I care about your happiness doesn't mean that I don't care about only you having the best. Honestly, why are you suddenly against Erin? You never said a word against her all this time. I may not have said a word against her, but I did make it pretty clear that I don't like her. But she didn't even do anything to you. Sure, but she's ugly. And she adds nothing of value to you. She's got an average bank job where she doesn't even earn that much. She doesn't come from any riches, and she has a subpar personality at best. You want me to only run after women with money like a gold digger? Okay, that's enough. Let's just go, yeah? It was hard to hear that coming out of Rita's mouth. So she really did hate me and even wanted Sean to leave me. I had tears running down my face, and when Sean and I drove back home, Sean was beyond angry at what had happened. We had a long conversation when we got back home. Sean kept apologizing for what his mother said, even when he had no reason to. I told him that I was very grateful for him standing up for me. I knew it must not have been easy to stand up against his mother. Sean assured me that he'd always stand up for me no matter who it was against. Even though Rita thoroughly disapproved of me, we still went ahead with the wedding. Sean's dad, Isaac, had heard of how Rita had replied to our engagement news, and he apologized on her behalf. He told us to feel free to not invite her to our wedding. Even though it seemed tempting to do that, we decided to invite her. Other than it being the right thing to do, I felt a certain pleasure at the thought of how Rita would feel when she would watch me walk down the aisle to Sean at the altar, where we would be pronounced husband and wife. The wedding happened about 8 months after Sean proposed to me. It was easily one of the best days of my life. It was an emotional roller coaster, but in the best way possible. The ceremony was emotional, but the reception was lively. While the entire thing went off smoothly, Rita almost ruined it by drinking too much. She got really drunk and took to the stage where she began to rant about me not being perfect for her son, and that if she could object to the wedding, she would have. We managed to get her off the stage, and Isaac took her home. The party resumed like normal, and during their toasts, our bridesmaids and groomsmen made it a point to list out just why I was good for Sean, something that made me cry with happiness. The next day, though, Sean and I went over to Rita's place. She did not seem remorseful for what she did and doubled down on what she had said the night before. I was tired of her disrespecting me to this extent, and I told her that while I had been nice enough to ignore her for so long, it didn't mean that I would always be that forgiving. She took offense to that and tried to yell at me for talking back to her, but I just got up and left with Sean. A day or two later, when I was returning home from work, I saw that Rita's car was in our driveway. I entered the house slowly and softly. I happened to walk in right when Rita and Sean were in the middle of a conversation. You see how she's talking to me? Mom, it's not completely unprovoked. Aside from what you did at our wedding, you also kept egging her on, and she's just reacting to how you're treating her. That's nonsense. So when I tell her the truth, it's warranted for her to talk back to me? I think even you know that you're not critiquing her. You're being mean to her. What has she done to you? What do you mean? This is not how you usually talk to me. She's influencing you and changing you little by little. I think you're jumping to conclusions here, Mom. No, I'm not. My son would have stood up for me no matter who he was going against. That's not right. I'll stand up for whoever's right. And in this case, Erin is right. She's standing up for herself, and I'm proud of her for it. I can't believe you agree with her disrespecting your mom. She's not disrespecting you. You're the one that's doing that to her. My God! She's fully brainwashed you, huh? Mom, I would really appreciate it if you maybe got help for the way you're thinking. This isn't normal in any way, and I would also like for you to stop treating Erin the way you have been. I don't need help. And I will not stop being myself just because Erin is a sensitive baby. Well, you either stop treating Erin that way, or we'll stop coming over. Whatever. Just wait and see. I'll prove to you that she's not a good person, and I will get you to leave her. Get help, Mom. Rita walked into the hallway at that point and huffed when she saw me. She angrily brushed past me as she stormed out of the house. Sean apologized for what I had to hear, but I only thanked him for standing up for me. He told me that he was never going to let his mom come between the both of us, and that was comforting to hear. About 2 weeks later, I got an email from an unknown person. They told me that they had important news to tell me about Rita. Now, I know that I shouldn't trust random people on the internet, but I was intrigued. I emailed them asking how they knew of Rita and how they got my email address. They replied in an hour and told me that they had sensitive information that couldn't be shared online. But they implored me to meet them. My gut told me that it was important, so against all logic, I told them I'd meet them. They told me their name was Daryl and asked me to pick the place we could meet. I chose our local Starbucks because it was a public place. So even if this was a scam, there would be plenty of people around me. Daryl readily agreed. We met that weekend. He gave me a general description of what he looked like and what clothes he'd be wearing. I spotted him pretty quickly after I walked in. Daryl? Yes, hi. Are you Erin? Yes, I am. It's a pleasure to meet you. How's Sean? Sean's fine, but if you don't mind me asking, who exactly are you? I work as a private investigator at a firm. A couple of weeks ago, a colleague of mine was asked to investigate you. I didn't know who you were, obviously, but then I looked into your information, and the person who asked for the investigation, I knew I needed to meet you then. Me? Why am I being investigated? Well, Sean's mother, Rita, asked for you to be looked into. Oh my God. She was really serious about getting me out of Sean's life. What do you mean? She has this immense hatred for me, and she's been trying to break apart our marriage. I guess she was trying to find dirt on me. Wow, well, I'll have my colleague come here and take pictures of us. Maybe this will give her a good scare. A good scare? Why's that? I don't know if you noticed it. Sean looks very different from Rita and his father. I mean, it's been a running joke that Sean may as well have been adopted because of how different he looks. He's not adopted for sure, because he's my son. What? Rita and I had a brief affair when I was 19. Her husband had gone on a work trip and she was lonely. How did you even know her? She was my neighbor. I will not lie, but I did have a small crush on her. She was a gorgeous woman, but I was never going to make a move because I knew that she was married. But the night that her husband left for his work trip, she invited me over and gave me some drinks. Next thing I know... Oh my God. And how do you know that Sean is your kid? Rita told me herself. She said that the timeline matched up with me. I didn't believe it, so we got a DNA test done after Sean was born. I still have the test result with me. Oh wow. I don't know how to deal with all this. Why did you never come forward with this? I was too scared. I was only a teenager. Plus Rita hired a PI on me and caught me doing something I shouldn't have been doing, especially as a minor. She told me to keep my mouth shut and never interfere in their lives again, so I did. But I guess she got too paranoid and she anonymously emailed my university with the evidence. I got thrown out of university and I wasn't able to get admission anywhere else. I got disowned from my family. Life has been rough ever since. I was only lucky to be able to get to where I am today. Oh my God, that's horrible. I'm so sorry she did that to you. I want to say that I got over it, but seeing her name just made all the anger I had against her come crashing back. I just want to get back at Rita for practically ruining my life. I can't imagine what it's like to have her as a mother-in-law, but the way she's hired someone to tail you makes me think that you wouldn't mind getting even either. You're right. Let's get back at her. I watched as Daryl called up his colleague. Daryl instructed him to take a picture of us outside the cafe. Daryl then told me more about his life and how he ended up homeless and had no place to turn to. How he worked as an informant for the police to earn some money because he was always living in shady areas where discreet crimes were committed. It's because of that that he managed to earn enough credibility to end up where he is now. I was just horrified at what he told me. I was in so much shock that I couldn't think. I just listened and listened to everything that he was saying. I couldn't imagine how Rita would keep something so big for so long from her family that she was, oh, so protective of. Was this why? Was she worried that some outsider would come in and ruin her perfectly crafted lies? I met the PI that Rita hired to follow me, and we looked over the photographs he had clicked of me. I looked upset and horrified in most of them. Daryl approved of them, and the PI sent the pictures to Rita. A day later, Rita invited Sean and I over for lunch at her place. She seemed nervous and was quieter than usual. I knew that she wanted to talk to me, but I avoided her as much as I could. At some point, Isaac complained about something being wrong with his car, so he and Sean went to the garage, leaving Rita and me alone in the house. Rita took that time to talk to me. "What the hell were you doing with that man?" "What man, Rita?" "Don't play dumb. You know who I'm talking about." "I have no idea about what you're talking about. Are you following me? Is that why you're asking me a question like that?" "Fine. If you must know, I hired a PI to tail you." "Why would you do something like that?" "You know I detest you. I wanted you out of mine and Sean's lives." "If I'd have known you'd get in cahoots with that man, I would have gotten rid of you sooner." "Did you get any actual dirt on me? What kind of dirt were you even expecting to get on me?" "I didn't get any dirt on you, but I was expecting to get proof of you talking crap about Sean at worst, and you cheating on him at best. Instead, I got the shock of my life." "Wow. So you wanted to prove that I was a horrible person, all while you being the one that has not only lied to her entire family for years, but also ruined the life of another man? Look, I feel really bad that I did all that. But you need to understand I was only doing what was best for my family." "What was best for your family? Cheating on your husband with a teenager was what was best for your family? Threatening that boy to stay away was what was best for your family? Lying to your family for years was what was best for your family?" "I know I'm a horrible person, but please don't say a single word to anybody." "How can I not say anything? They deserve to know, especially Sean, and this will serve as Daryl's justice as well. You ruined his life." "Please, please don't say anything. I'm begging you. I promise I'll leave you alone and I'll be nice to you." Right then, Sean and Isaac walked in. Sean overheard what Rita had said and asked what was going on. Rita pleaded with me with her eyes, but I simply could not keep such a big and world-shattering piece of information to myself. Sean and Isaac mattered a lot to me, and they deserved to know about the truth. So I told them everything, from Rita hiring a PI to follow me, to the anonymous email I received from Daryl, to what Daryl revealed to me. I had a copy of the DNA test sent to me from Daryl, which I showed to Isaac and Sean. Rita paled as I revealed more and more information. Meanwhile, Sean and Isaac grew angrier by the second. Once I was done telling them everything I knew, everything fell silent. You could hear a pin drop in that silence. Isaac and Sean were beyond upset and angry that they were processing what they had just learned. Rita was shaking with worry and anxiety, and she decided to be the one to break the silence. "Sean, Isaac, I'm really sorry." "Sorry? You think sorry will solve this?" "How could you, Mom?" "I was just trying to do what was best for us." "No, you were just doing what was best for you. All you wanted to do was save your own ass." "Sean, don't you dare speak to me that way. I may have messed up, but I'm still your mother." "He gets to speak to you however he wants. He's right. You ruined another man's life for this lie of yours." "Why does that matter? I kept both of you happy for years." "All of that was a lie. Why are you not getting that? That happiness was built on the back of someone's suffering. You think we wanted that?" "Isaac, I kept you happy, right? I was a good wife to you." "Only after you cheated on me and lied to me about our child. You disgust me." "This is all Erin's fault. I wanted a happy family, that is all, and look at what she's done." "You have some nerve to still go after Erin when you were the one that ruined your own life. You're just angry that your plan to tail her backfired in the worst possible for you. I want nothing to do with you anymore. Me neither. I want you out of my house by the end of this week. I don't care where you end up as long as you're far away from me. Rita tried to plead her case again, but neither Sean nor Isaac paid attention to what she was saying. Isaac excused himself to go to his room, and Sean asked me if we could leave. Rita kept cursing me out as we walked out of the house, but Sean and I did not give her the satisfaction of a reaction. After that, Isaac asked us if he could stay with us for the week until Rita cleared her things out of the house. We obviously told him he could. Sean and Isaac spent a lot of time talking after the revelation. Sean was a mess. He had been scared that Isaac would view him differently, but Isaac assured him that he still considered Sean to be his son. He told him that blood was not what defined family. Sean felt significantly better after that. Isaac got busy with the divorce after. Rita contested the divorce and fought for every little thing in an attempt to be petty. Isaac struggled during these months. I was angry that Rita still hadn't learned her lesson. She was still out to try and ruin someone's life. As if it wasn't enough that she had lied to Isaac since the start, she also fought for every single penny. Eventually, Isaac was cleared of needing to pay alimony, and Rita was given a slightly smaller portion of all the marital property. Let me tell you, the happiness that Isaac displayed after he had gotten officially divorced was a sight to behold. Sean and I were just happy to see Isaac looking better. As for Daryl, I got him and Sean in contact. Sean was very nervous to meet him, but after one conversation with Daryl, he liked him. He and Daryl have been in contact ever since, and now, whenever we have family dinners, we invite both Isaac and Daryl over, who, by the way, have both bonded because of the nightmare named Rita that they experienced. And Rita, last I heard, she was living in some dingy apartment because that was all she could afford with the money from the divorce settlement. She's working retail now and struggling. For a while, she would keep sending me hateful messages, and while it was entertaining to read those texts, I decided it was for the best that I blocked her. It's been a year since the big fallout, and things are slowly starting to look up. It's going to be a while before all of us go back to being normal, but there's still hope for a better day, and that's all that matters.